Howdy. Welcome to Love After Divorce, the place for women who want to find the love of their life after a divorce or breakup. If you feel like you're taking stabs in the dark when it comes to dating, this is the place for you because I'll tell you exactly why you don't have the love of your life yet. Here's the problem. The thing you want most in life is missing. You want a wonderful mate and you don't have one. And of course, you want a great relationship. Humans want this. Nothing about this is surprising. Hollywood movies are chock full of romantic bliss. Having a husband, wife, girlfriend, or partner is considered normal. We like pairing up. It feels good to have a partner in crime, but yet it isn't happening for you. Either you know you're doing something that's keeping you single and you don't know what to do about it, or you have no idea what you're doing wrong. Then you worry you'll end up living alone and then dying alone. And that sucks. Nobody wants that. And that brings me to what I've been talking about in the last few episodes. The idea that you are repelling the princes of the world and attracting frogs instead. In episode 4, I talked about some signs that you may be repelling great partners. Today, you'll hear about one of the ways we repel. There's a bunch of things women do that repel partners. I call them the sisters of the unhappily ever after. And today, I'll tell you a story about the first sister of the unhappily ever after. Her name is Susie. She and her single girlfriends go out every Wednesday to a local bar and grill for ladies' night. It's fun because there's always a nice crowd and the food is great. Susie and her friends go there in the hope of finding some great guys. The topic of conversation on ladies' night is usually men, the ones they've recently dated or the ones they hope to meet. Susie has had a few long-term relationships in the past, but she said she always seems to attract the frogs instead of the princes, and she wants a prince. Susie figures all she needs is one guy who can get her out of the life she's living now. Just one guy with a great job to take her away from her current situation. Her job is, as she describes it, same shit, different day. She's been working for the same company for 10 years and rarely gets a raise, and she's frustrated because she gets passed over for promotions all the time. Her house is fine, but she really would rather live someplace a bit more fancy. The yard is kind of a mess, and so is the roof. She goes on vacations, but she wonders how she always ends up going to the same place year after year. She'd love to go someplace new, but she gets nervous thinking about going on a cruise alone or going someplace new and getting lost. And over the past few years, she's accrued some credit card debt. Susie thinks it would be so cool to meet a guy who has a nice house, a good job, and money in the bank. A guy who does fun stuff like go to Paris for vacation. Wouldn't that be the life? And let's talk about all that other adulting stuff. Susie relishes the idea of not having to worry about stuff like financial planning. It's so confusing. The last thing Susie wants to worry about is retirement savings, life insurance, and taxes. So it would be great to find a guy that could take care of all of that stuff. And she also thinks it would be awesome if there was a guy to buy her nice things. She'd love it if a man took her on one of those shopping sprees, like that scene in Pretty Woman. She can't imagine ever spending that kind of cash on herself, but it would be great if she found a man who would do it. Susie spends a lot of time fantasizing about how life could be if she just met the right man or won the lottery. Well, one night, Susie met a guy named Josh. He was super stellar. He was 6'3", a pilot, and very entertaining. He told the funniest stories, like the one about his vacation in Spain, where he mixed up the words for potato and Pope. Listening to the story about how he tried to order the Pope at a restaurant, fantastic. And he was an eligible bachelor. He'd been in town for a few months and was doing lots of social things to meet new people. She could tell Josh was a catch, and she really, really, really wanted to go out with him. She'd been hanging out with him in different group settings for a few months, like the bar and grill, baseball games, street fairs, and parties thrown by mutual friends. In fact, she started checking out his Facebook page and chatting with mutual friends to figure out where he'd be so she could coincidentally run into him. For example, she's not really into volleyball, but she found out that he played on the sand volleyball team. So she just coincidentally went to watch one Sunday afternoon. One day, she heard him talking about how sugar cookies were his fave. So she made a big batch and left them on his front porch with a note. He sent her a quick message on Facebook saying, "Thanks so much. They were the best cookies ever." But that was it. She saw Josh and talked to him often enough, but no matter how many hints she dropped about being single and going out, he never took the bait. And next thing she knew, Josh was dating this other woman. How did she find out? Easy. Susie had gone to one of his sand volleyball games and loudly rooted for his team. But after the game was over, she saw him kiss this blonde-haired woman that looked kind of like her. She had no idea who this woman was, but one thing she knew, her man was stolen right in front of her. And Susie was baffled. She wondered, what the hell? What am I doing wrong? I mean, I look nice, I'm friendly, I'm easy to get along with, and I know I'd be a great partner. So why is he dating this other woman and not me? Well, here's why. It's because Susie is one of the stepsisters of the Unhappily Ever After. Can you guess what her full name is? It's Susie Save Me. Susie Save Me is a great gal. So why do the good guys avoid her like the plague? It's because she hasn't taken the correct steps, starting with step one. Step one is to identify the things that you're saying or doing that repel good partners. And if you are a Susie Save Me, you are repelling men. And do you know why it's hard to take step one? Well, one reason is because you don't even know it's a thing. You can't identify things that repel men because you think you're doing everything right. In Susie's case, she figures her desires are just normal. I mean, doesn't everybody want to be saved? Who doesn't want a man to come along to set things right? Well, the truth is that really attractive men, the guys who basically have their lives together, want women who don't need or want to be saved. I'm not saying that attractive men want women with perfect lives, but they certainly don't want a woman who wants to be saved from her own life. But so many women who are like Susie Save Me are baffled. They can't see that this is a problem. They don't know they can save themselves. They just assume it's somebody else's job. The idea of making life grand without a man seems impossible. And that's simply because they just don't have the skills they need to save themselves. They think improving their lives on their own is too hard or impossible. But that's not the case. The truth is that you can create a life that's fun, a life that you don't want to be saved from. All you need are skills, and they're just skills you haven't acquired yet. Because when you're living a life you love, you'll be uber attractive because men want to be loved for who they are, not for what they can do for you. And if you're dating, the last thing you want to do is keep doing things that are ineffective. You can bake sugar cookies until the cows come home. You can have lots of conversations with a man you're interested in, and you can spend a lot of time fantasizing about him, but those are not the skills you need. And getting the skills you need is imperative because nobody wants to waste time doing the wrong thing. It's much better to spend time taking actions that get you to the goal. Because if you stay in Susie Save Me mode for too long, you're going to continue repelling the good guys and attracting the type of men who like to save women. If you're a Susie Save Me and don't want to be, if you want to learn the skills to get out of that mode, hop onto therebuildingcoach.com and book a free consult call with me. During the call, you'll get a diagnosis about what's standing between you and a great partner. And in the next episode, I'll tell you about another sister of the unhappily ever after. There's lots of them. Until then, this is Dawn Ziegler, the Rebuilding Coach, and this is Love After Divorce.